Hello, I'm back. I did miss yesterday, but I'm back on the horse. So it should be day 16 today, but it's only day 15 of 100 Days of YouTube. So, yeah, very, very bad, but I'm back on the horse, and that's the most important thing. You make mistakes, you make slip ups, but the important thing is you get back on with it. So, today I'm going to do a very quick bonus episode off the back of the 5-part series they've just done on the discovery process. And I thought it would be quite good just to call out the 5 questions that I like the best. So I've called it the best questions, but they're the ones I like the best. And these are questions that I have collected and curated over 25 years. So I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here. I'm stealing like an artist. So spin selling, gap selling, Taz, P Club, Keenan, all these kind of people just sucking the best bits out of there to come up with these 5 questions that you can see on the screen now. So, start with the first question that I like to use. Where does this sit in your senior leadership's list of priorities? So, typically ask this kind of question after we're kind of 4 or 5 minutes into the discovery process, and we've just started to identify what the issue is and maybe what the root cause is, and the fact that something needs to be solved. And it's really about understanding urgency from a business perspective. And what you can get from that is you can get a couple of different things. You can get, yeah, this is my boss's top priority, we absolutely need to solve it now. You can also get the response where it's like, oh, leadership, they just don't get it. This is so important, but they don't seem to see it as a problem. That right there is a red flag. That means you've got work to do. That means you're speaking to somebody who can't necessarily make a decision, feels the pain, but needs your help to get that onto leadership's radar. And if it is on leadership's radar, little follow-up questions like what's going on that's driving the urgency? And is this the most important challenge you're facing? Just again, to understand priorities, where does it sit in the priorities level, and what is driving that priority? Question number 2, what are the knock-on effects of this issue? So this is the impact question without asking impact. So impact has been grossly overused by sales, and buyers tend to get the ick factor as soon as you say anything with the word impact in it, particularly if it's earlier on in the sales cycle. They get cringe. They get the feeling that they're being sold to. So it's a great way of asking that without using that word impact. Now, it's not that you shouldn't use the word impact. It's just if you use it too early and you ask a real direct impact question, you get people's defenses up. They're like, oh, don't want to be sold to. And kind of follow-up questions on this you can ask is things like, how would you feel if it still wasn't resolved by the end of next quarter? So casting your mind 5-6 months into the future, or getting the prospect to cast their minds into the future and thinking, if I'm still living with this issue in 5-6 months' time, how am I going to feel about that? I'm going to be, oh, it's fine, just manage, or actually am I going to be like, good grief, that'd be horrific, I really need to deal with it. So again, finding out where the pain, the level of urgency, the level of kind of pain that's there. Number 3, how is this affecting the team? So this is my kind of favorite question to use when I want to get my prospect to start to kind of open up a little bit about how an issue or a problem is affecting them personally. And I find that by using the phrase, the team, as opposed to how is this affecting you, actually you can start to draw a bit out of them. So they might talk about individuals in their team, things they're challenging with. They might talk about the team collectively. Very often you'll find they switch. They start talking about the team and then start talking about themselves. Even if they don't, if they give a few bits of information about the team, you can then follow up with, do you mind if I ask a direct question? How does that make you feel? So you can peel the onion on that a little bit, but it's quite good to start to surface some of those status, those emotional issues or needs around a problem. So we're through 3 of 5. I've put this little line in here to remind you to subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get updates. There are links in the description that can take you to the website and some free resources that I give away. I mostly hang out on LinkedIn, so you can find me there as well. Right, question 4. How would you quantify the impact/effect of this problem? So I mentioned a minute ago about not using the word impact. Like I said, if it's a bit further on in the discussion, if you've built that level of rapport and trust, the word impact doesn't necessarily produce the same level of ick. I would still lean towards effect. And again, what you're looking for to do here is to try and get a quantifiable business metric. Try and see, look, is this a problem we can put a number against? So I might ask, if I forget kind of an odd response, how would you quantify the effect of this? Or it's difficult to say. I might follow up with, is there a specific business metric that it's hurting? Is there what's on your senior leaders dashboard, and which one of those KPIs could be being impacted by this? So again, you're trying to get the quantifiable. You're trying to put a value on it. I'm just going to do a bit of edit on the fly and drop that down to the next page so it looks a bit neater. Question 5. What would an example of this look like? So again, this is trying to make issues real. Whenever you get something that somebody talks about where, there's an issue in procurement where it takes us too long to process the invoices, which means that that's great, that's interesting. You could say, what would an example of that look like? Is there a recent example you can talk to? Could you tell me a bit more about that? So these kind of expansion questions where you're trying to get to like real life issues or real life situations where this has been a problem. And then, because I'm a generous guy, I've got a bonus number 6 for you. And this is about blockers and constraints, right? So if it's a problem, and particularly if it's a known problem, a known issue, it's about understanding, well, what's stopping you from solving it now? And I tend to use this one, like I say, if there's an issue that someone is raging about, it's like, I'm curious, what's stopping you from solving this problem now? What's stopping you from addressing this problem now? Trying to get the reasons that they haven't done anything. And typically, you'll find it's time, money, resource. It's not prioritized high up the business. But again, you start to understand the blockers they're having. And by virtue of that, the challenges you're going to have to get this deal over the line. Because if they're blockers for them solving it, they're damn sure going to be blockers for you getting the deal over the line. So there's 6 of my favorite discovery questions to use and exactly how to use them. Next time, I'm going to be talking about running deal war rooms. So deal war rooms are my favorite way of running coaching sessions, and I'll talk more about that next time. But for now, glad to be back. Hope you guys are all well. Subscribe, connect with me on LinkedIn, download the free training tools and resources, and always keen to get feedback. Feedback's a gift. Cheers.